another exciting session of the day where we are talking about marketing strategies. Let's take a look into product marketing of 2022, which is specific to the building industry. So let me introduce our session panel members. The session is moderated by Rajesh Srinivasan. He's the founder of Mindful Marketing. Rajesh Srinivasan is a modern marketing strategist and author, and he works with companies as the outsourced chief marketing officer and helps them accelerate the revenues and build a powerful brand. Our speakers, let me introduce in an alphabetical order. We have with us Mr. Atul Desai, Executive Director and CEO, Prism Johnson Limited, RMC India. Mr. Desai brings with him over 30 years of rich experience in the industry, and he's currently helming RMC India division, which operates a total of 97 ready mixed concrete and aggregate crushing plants in 44 towns and cities across the nation. He's spearheading all the three verticals, commercial concrete, aggregates, and mega projects, and he possesses a strong business and leadership record and has a deep understanding of the consumer and business landscape in the Indian region. Our next eminent panel member, let me introduce Mr. Alok Agarwal, Chief Marketing Officer, Orient Limited. Alok is a marketing veteran who has built brands across India and abroad. An IIT Mumbai and IIM Bengaluru alumnus with 2 decades of experience, he has built brands across the globe, led new product development, evangelized digital marketing, and created shopper marketing solutions for retail outlets. Now, our next panel member, let me introduce young and dynamic Bharat Suvarna, Head Marketing, Stonelam Lebanon. Bharat Suvarna previously was the Head of Marketing at Escon Elevator Schindler, India Private Limited, Asher Trucks and Buses, Lodha Group, Classic Strides Private Limited, and Mahindra Group in various marketing roles. He has worked in marketing and brand management across automotive and real estate domain and has had stints in marketing, product development, and sales across the country. Our next eminent panel member joining us is Dr. H.C. Mario Schmidt, Managing Director, Lingel Windows and Doors Technologies Private Limited. Dr. Schmidt is also Company Director of Fenestra Brew, Lingel, Germany. With his immense knowledge in mechanical science, he has been able to add more value to the company's innovation plans and has helped launch various new products. Mario Schmidt is the president of UPVC Windows and Doors Manufacturers Association, and he was recently bestowed with the honorary doctorate title for his work in skill development and management. Our next panel member, let me introduce Srinivas Shanbogue, Vice President, Home and Distribution, Schneider. Mr. Shanbogue is a business leader with over 20 years of experience in B2B and B2C markets. He started with Schneider Electric in the year 2003 and has done various hats in sales, strategy, marketing, and distribution, and has played a critical role in the strategic transformation initiative of Schneider Electric India. Earlier in his career, he has worked with organizations such as ABG Group, Legrand, and Tech Pacific. So this is our eminent panel, and Mr. Srinivasan, I hand it over to you now.
Thank you so much, Swapna. And it is extremely an honor and pleasure to be a part of this panel discussion with among other eminent industry leaders from building and construction material. So I would like to start this session by going slightly wider to altogether a different field. So tributes were pouring from all the nook and corners of the country when people heard the news of Lata Mangeshkar's death, the legendary singer we all know. You could think why I am talking about a singer in a product marketing session like this, but there are some correlation exist between Lata Mangeshkar and product marketing. Let me share those things very quickly to you. When she breathed her last at Beach Candy Hospital, Mumbai on 6th February, till date, from 1942, Lata Mangeshkar ji has sang more than 50,000 songs in 36 languages for almost 6 decades. She gave background voice to old actresses like Nargis, Hema Malini, Rekha, Jaya Bharati, and recent actresses like Madhuri Dixit, Gajol, even to Preeti Zinta. Even from music directors, she has worked with range of music directors, right from Anu Malik to Ilayaraja to A.R. Rahman. Even Lataji, at some point, she was even been accused of being the monopoly in the entire film industry. She was told she has crushed the careers of other singers because she was dominant in her field. What I have noticed is Lata Mangeshkar, famous singer, is a great product and a human brand. Let's see, just see how long she has sustained in her industry. If music, if movie as an industry, and if we take music and singing as a niche in that industry, the way she stayed relevant by singing songs to almost 6 decades for different audience, for different heroines, the type of songs she delivered, 6 decades of relevance. That is what I think every product manager or a CEO or entrepreneur strives for, right? Because every product has a life cycle. It bonds, it grows, it matures, and eventually dies. The challenge for every business owner, entrepreneur, or marketer is to ensure that it is relevant, like Lata Mangeshkar ji, for a longer period of time. We will have competition, we will have external situations changing. These things happen, right? So ideally, a product has to evolve, as someone has rightly pointed out earlier. It has to find its own variations, adapt to the external environment, adapt to the external technology shifts and cultural shifts. Some of the very famous examples which we know where the big brands have gone irrelevant are Kodak and Nokia. Today, even companies like Google and Facebook faces a similar challenge due to privacy issues. We know Coca-Cola and McDonald's facing similar kind of challenges due to increased consciousness in healthy lifestyle. Similar to that, coming back to building material industry, we can discuss certain things, and we will do it as to how the brands, your product, your category, the way we approach media, the way we approach storytelling, how it can be relevant for a longer time, and what technology shifts and consumer behavioral shifts may affect the industry. So let me even let me take my first question to Mr. Atul Desai. Is available with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Atul. Nice talking with you.
Excellent example, Rajesh.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Atul, what I would like to understand from you is some product categories, like let's say fashion and beauty, have some inherent excitement around it. We do not have to build an excitement, but how do you engineer the same level of enthusiasm, customer enthusiasm, in the product categories like ready mix concrete? Because it is not visible, right? It's hidden, but we know it's important for a building. But how do you build that enthusiasm? What are the steps you take, Atul? Can you just share that with us?
Rajesh, my belief is the enthusiasm of customer is depend on two primary things.
Mm-hmm.
First is the impact of the product and the effect of the product for how long. The mistake of selection, if it's happening, how much is it serious? So that is one is the impact of the product, and second is the knowledge of the product. If the customer do not know your product and how to apply, he will always have a comparatively less involvement. So enthusiasm, according to us, is totally depend on understanding the customer's need. The day the customer aware that this product will solve the larger issues of their problems or need, then and make them understand on a product, on application, and providing them a comfort on product, his enthusiasm will go multifaceted. Like in our product is a built to last. Okay, it's not an impulsive product that you select once and then any mistake happens, you can change it. It's a serious product, and the impact of our product is remain for the lifetime till the time they replace. So we consider that as a great opportunity for us. So we have a lot of research work what we do on understanding of a customer's need and their problems, and we build our product surrounding to the need. So we have a complete concrete solution. That's our tagline, and we build up our product on that line. So like if the customer has a problem of leakages, water leakages is a very common. We build a product on that, on aqua resistance. We have a brand. Similarly, like hospitals where radiation is sometimes a problem. I'm just given a Baba Atomic Research Center where radiation is a big issue. We designed the product of high dense concrete. So it's like you have to build up an innovation on building the product, and then with the various way to approach them and convince them on application of product and make them understand on product and providing them comfort that we stand with you. What we normally say, mehuna. That approach we have to build up with the customer, and the day they feel that we are the people who are standing with them and a serious player over the period of a time with a full commitment, and I would say with a full fairness and transparency, we have to win the confidence that yes, we are not here to sell our product. We are here to sell our solution, your problem solution. This way, and the day they understand, they put a faith in us, I believe me, their enthusiasm is a multifaceted. In fact, some of the questions sometimes we face, because they have a lot of anxiety when they are making the house. Normally, any of the customers build their house once in a lifetime. And at that point of time, their involvement, I would say, the quality time what family offers is a mind-boggling. So I think a lot of activities has to be built on a product design, a lot of activities on reaching to the customer, building a communication strategy, and nowadays the social media is available. So we have a series of the problems when we discuss. So one is a customer and second is applicators, because at the end of the day, our product is not being used directly by customer. It's being used by some of the applicators. But a lot of efforts has been placed on training the applicators.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So that way, I think it's not a single approach. Enthusiasm is to be built up by approaching customer, middlemen, and I would say applicators, architects, and influencers. That's where we are in. I hope I would reach to your answers.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much, Atul. I'm extending the same question. It's the second question to Alok Agarwal, CMO of Oriental Bell. It's natural extension of what Atul has pointed out. So how do you build that differentiation product? When we say we need to build that consumer enthusiasm step by step across the buying funnel, and as we understand, it is not a low involvement product category, it's a high involvement product category, right? So they're buying something where they're going to stay, where they're going to live. It affects everything. So how, Alok, my question to you is, how do you bring product differentiation in a category like B2B? When you approach architects, builders, contractors, it's you primarily talk about, you primarily do something on a B2B setting, right? So how do you tell stories? How do you bring product differentiation? And I would also like to understand, how do you communicate this value proposition to this B2B segment, and what media channels works best for B2B?
Well, tiles for once goes to both B2C as well as B2B. There are ways to create excitement by connecting with the anxieties and the joys of a consumer. Now, the B2B segment is slightly different because it's often an organizational decision making. So if you go to a builder, for example, there is a builder, there is a purchase head, there is an architect. Or if you were to talk to an architect firm, there is the chief architect. There are typically product guys who decide on tiles, and there are multiple people involved, including the site guy and so on. So I think the challenge still remains the same. How do you identify the anxieties, the pain points, and the joys? And how do you magnify it in a way that it relates to the human in them? And then it works. Yeah. So you would typically still figure out okay, these are the innovations you need. So you could do a scratch-free tile, an anti-static tile, or a cool tile that keeps indoors cooler. But communicating it, often we find it's so much better to communicate to the consumer, because the same communication works for everybody. So for example, I'm talking of cool tiles. If I were to say, on our cool tiles, you can walk bare feet, it relates to all of us on this panel discussion, because nange pav farsh pe chalna, or walking bare feet on a floor, on a terrace floor, or when it's really hot, is something that you can't normally do, and you expect it'll be hot. We have all been to a temple or a Taj Mahal, and you believe that under the sun, it's really hot. But on a cool tile, you can easily walk bare feet. Now, so once you identify the product proposition and a way of communicating it, it typically cuts across all stakeholders. So the execution can be very similar. Yeah. Now, the challenge remains on how to communicate it to a builder who may not even look at Facebook or Google. And so you will have to find out your own tools of either email marketing or first-party data to directly reach out to them. And that's the only way it works.
But one key differentiation between when we address B2B, for example, if we are addressing a builder, and on the other side, we are addressing an end consumer. So one key difference is the builder is not a real user of the product, end user of the product. If I am a builder, I'm going to use paints or your product for my customers. So it means I may go and advertise. When I build a home, I may even go and advertise saying that I'm associated with this brand, and this brand will take care of the safety aspect. This brand will take care of the lifestyle element of this product. So it means when we address a builder, a developer, the communication for him has to be different, right? Than when compared to addressing an end consumer.
Yes, absolutely. It's got to be dramatically different as well. So there will be parts of it that work everybody, and a builder will have his own specific concerns as well. Concerns about on-time completion of project. What does the RERA guy think of him? How do you get the best quality? How do you minimize wastage? So there are different concerns that you need to engage with at a builder, which is typically done on a one-on-one basis, or through very different kind of initiatives. For example, we have an initiative where we engage with the RERA team and the builders because there is no other forum for them to talk. So we have created a forum where we hear from RERA on what are their typical concerns with the builder and the builder's typical concerns with the RERA. And it's an amazing session because in this journey, we understand our customers better. So, you have to bespoke, innovate in B2B marketing, because otherwise it boils down to, if I may literally say, giving a diary or a gift and saying ki sir, meri product le lena. And if you want to really market in B2B, you have to innovate and work, if I may say, much more harder, because it's not yet been done.
Thanks, Alok. Thanks for addressing my question. So next, let's go to Bharat Suvarna, Head Marketing, Stonelam Surfaces. Hi, Bharat. How are you doing? You have to unmute.
I'm so sorry. I was on mute. Yeah, I'm
Hi,
doing good.
Bharat. Yeah. Bharat, my question to you is slightly, let's go wider than the building and construction industry. During the pandemic, if you notice, categories like online retail, education, and even online streaming, they have gained faster adoption. We all know the reason, because we are forced to stay inside our home and lead our life, right? So now, since the fear of pandemic is slowing down, we see people rushing to theaters, malls, restaurants, and wedding, and even construction activities and other things are picking up. It's coming back to the normal stage. So now if we look at people's behavior today, I'm talking about today, looks like they are fed up. I would even put myself here, fed up to doing everything online. So do you think the pendulum has swung too far towards the online side, and are we overrating online marketing? You can even share your perspective from your own industry also.
So my take on this, it's got two things. So if anybody says that online is going to phase out and we're going to come back, obviously humans are social animals and they need to interact. They love to interact personally, but that was the norm. But what has changed in the pandemic is people have realized that you don't really need to be physically present in front of each other to be connected. And it's broken a lot of barriers, like old friends who used to not even speak to each other are talking on a daily basis because they found the means, the modes to communicate with each other. So online interaction has actually made us a much closer place. Obviously, we crave for physical interactions, the tea time breaks with people and all of that. But online is here to stay because there are multiple factors that are involved, which is convenience. A lot of things that were not accessible, and suppose you had to go out to get them, there are new apps coming in to fulfill demands, wherein it's come to 10-minute delivery of stuff, and people want the convenience because life has become more fast-paced, more hectic, and people understand that time is the only commodity that they have which cannot be bought back. It is the most expensive commodity. So why waste it on trivial things? Why can't I automate most of my life? So online is here to stay. It's not going to go back. It's only going to increase. Coming back to your example that you were talking about, Lata Mangeshkar and all, that's a big mindset change that has happened, I believe. So if you see the older generations that were there, they preferred stability. You must have seen people working 30 years in one company and then retiring out of there. But then the newer generation, they want change. They want job profile changes. They want to jump. They want to try out new things. So from the familiarity is better concept, people say, I like new things. So that also applies to B2B on a very large scale. Apart from the core materials like your cement and steel, which are going to be there, people want change, be it your interiors, be it your exterior, even your facades for that matter. Although they want the product life cycle to be 25 years. So it should be like an option for them. It should last long, but it should be easy and cost effective for me to change it whenever I want. So that choice is what is changing right now. Also, there is one question that everybody is asking, be it the end consumer, be it the architect, be it the influencer, be it the consultant or the builder. The question they ask is, what is in it for me? And that question is constant across all people, because architect, for example, if you take an example of an architect, if you say B2B building materials, he will say the calling card for an architect is the end product should look good, because that is his visiting card for other people, saying that this is what I've done. Obviously, the features, the USPs, they all need to be in place. The product needs to have that life, have the properties like fire resistance, scratch resistance, water resistance. It has to have color fading guarantee, stuff like that. All of that is there, but it also has moved a little more towards aesthetics, because it should look good. Secondly, with my interactions with these architects, the whole communication has transformed from B2B to B2B2C. Because what the architects have told me is that if my end consumer, who is now a very big stakeholder in the decision making of even buying B2B materials, be it cement, be it steel, be it tiles, be it laminates, be it facade materials, whatever, if the end consumer does not give me a go ahead, I cannot approve that material. And he has jumped into it. He is more knowledgeable. He is more informed. He has got everything at his disposal, to such an extent that if you are looking at individual homes, people are actually just consulting architects, and they're going to the market and figuring out what is the best for me. And they are giving inputs on design, because there are so many platforms wherein they can get ideas and they can showcase. For example, people are going to Pinterest. If you're building a good kitchen, if you're building a good facade, if you're building a good bathroom, people are going there, they're taking photographs and showcasing to the architect. And the important part as marketers is that although your primary target audience is architects, you also need to communicate to your end consumer with what the product stands for. Because if it's not on their top of mind when your architect pitches your product to them, he's going to say, why should I take this product and not the ones that are on top of mind, the similar materials. So that is a huge transition that has happened, and it's even B2B has moved towards targeting to consumers and also speaking to them directly, because they have realized that the market is no longer a push market wherein we used to say, okay, my product is going to last for 30 years and buy my product because it's the best. Because it's moved from push marketing to pull marketing, where you realize that the multiplier effect really works for you. And consumers, if they really like your product and if it stands the tests of whatever you're talking about in terms of USPs, the consumer is going to be your biggest word of mouth. He's going to be your brand ambassador. And apart from just awareness to the sale, that entire sales funnel that was there, making him aware of the product, to consideration and then the purchase, it has moved to the next step where it is delight. Wherein if your consumers are delighted, they work as hands and legs for you in terms of marketing across the country. So you can never have enough salespeople to target a country of 1.3 billion people. You will always need influencers, and that's the reason you see so many new platforms coming in, especially especially in COVID. You must have seen a huge rise in apps like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So even B2B is coming there, because they've realized that the end consumer has a very, very, very significant role to play when it comes to decision making, and that is how communication has to be made.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Bharat. You made a very, very valid point by saying that consumers awareness, even though we sell it to B2B architects, builders, and all the other people who are part of the decision making, it's very, very important to build a story, entire product story, and communicate it to the end audience. Because if we are not subconsciously present, if a brand, particularly a lifestyle brand like you, is not subconsciously present in their mind when they hear their advice from the architect or a builder, they will be hesitant and the product's adoption will be slower. I totally agree to your point. And my next question is to Mario. Mario, now as Bharat told, the lifestyle aspirations of people are constantly evolving, right? If you 15 years back, 20 years back, there is no such industry as interiors. It was evolving. We were not seeing much of momentum there. I'm particularly talking about interiors segment. today people are giving much more importance, equal importance to home buying, to interiors, and how they do up their entire apartment and all and things like that. So how do you observe these trends, these evolving consumers trends? So we are sitting inside the company, right? So how do you ensure that these trends, consumer trends, recent consumer trends, come and reach you, and how do you use those insights into your product development process?
Very interesting question. First, I would like in advance to apologize if my internet is unstable. Please inform me, then I have to switch off my camera. I hope I'm audible till here. Also, of course, there is an evaluation and continued change, especially I would say in a country like India, where as on date, we do not have so many innovations by standardization and forces given by governments. When I see in my German company, the innovation is there purely in terms of technical new things, then energy saving, and their new product has to be by default developed because the government is forcing it, giving short timelines. The innovation goes towards the natural environment and energy saving. This is what we have over there. Here in India, as of now, unfortunately, at many cases, it is just an if you can do, you do it, but the customer itself will only accept it in case he will see a value addition. For me, very important from the marketing front, I go myself many times to meet consumer, to meet potential customer, to meet architects, to meet the decision makers, to get the feedback. And as I said, only when the consumer sees the value addition, then he is going to buy it. At times people are coming, oh, I've seen it in the US, I've seen it in the UK, I've seen it somewhere in Australia, coming out with super cool ideas. And then I have to say, hey, it's a wooden house. And when we do this, then we have to make this, and this, and this to make it actually happening, concerned about our product, which are doors and windows, which are looking quite easy. But then in the end, they are quite technical product as well. Also important is that we are getting continued insights and ideas, approaches, because yes, people are traveling, maybe these days not, but we have the internet, we have so many platforms of getting the ideas. And there it is important, as more an idea is coming, then really you have to push your product, your development, your marketing in those area, because on the end, we say the customer is always right. No customer is wrong. It may go for some time in a direction where you know already it not last long, but the push is there. Then you have to present and you have to push, you have to position your company in advance already, that for those ideas which are going to come, you are coming up with the solution. And this is where we are having engagements at so many platforms with the developer, with the architects, with the consultants, and really in B2C what the consumer, what the customers are asking for. And like even today, we have applied in a category for a new product where people are saying, oh my God, wow, I was not aware that the performance can be changed. There's a special security system. In security, you can see only when someone wants to attack it. So in there, we made a lot of R&D, asking the feedback from the customer, again, going back. We know the product was really and is really perfect, but as long as you don't make the explanation so simple that you actually really get the excitement, what we are speaking about, or the feedback, yes, this is right. So you have to really take the feedback from the customers serious, so that your product is going to reach where you, from the quality aspect of where you have already positioned it, that it is actually acknowledged. Acknowledge is the right word. The acknowledgement has to come, excitement has to come, that the demand is coming for a product where you know it is actually good.
Yeah. Thanks, Mario. I get your point. I've heard a very good quote from Steve Blank, a management consultant who has invented the customer development process. He coined a term called "get out of the building." He insists every team which is into product development and strategy to go and meet the customer or listen to what customers say. And you pointed out that. So it truly resonates with me. And today we have a lot of mechanisms to listen to customers, even social listening tools we have. Whatever customers talk about our category, we can listen to that. We can even put into some AI technologies to take all the reviews about our product category. So things are evolving, right? So it is good to have that mindset of getting out of the building and learn new things which is happening in our industry. So now my next question is to Srinivas. Now, Srinivas, if you notice, uh, particularly a country like India, it's diverse in culture, right? So we have various value systems based on our religion, the way we eat food. And when it comes to building and construction industry, I think it has more relevance because when we go to each and every home differently, different culture has different kinds of different way of building homes. They set up their homes in a different way. So even based on religion, the way they build their homes, set up their interiors vary. So rather than having a one single product or features catering to these entire diverse set of people and culture, do you have or do you take up some additional steps to find some local relevance or personalizing your product offering based on some cultural elements? Do you take that extra mile, Srinivas, or is it possible to do it?
Yeah, hi Rajesh. Hi Sapna. Thanks for having me here.
Hi,
So
yeah.
I think a very valid point. Diversity is something which is extremely sensitive topic in India, and I've traveled across the world. But when I have seen more than 30 countries, but when I visit about 100 cities in India, the diversity is much more larger than what you see in the world. Okay, so I think. Very important, and I think you have asked me a very apt question. I've been in this kind of roles where I had to really understand the diversity and needs of the local flavors, you know? So it was 2009-10, probably 2 years. I traveled about more than 120 cities in India, you know, especially of different classes. Obviously we keep traveling metros, but the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and different zones, you know. And I was amazed to see the diversity, and the needs and the behaviors were completely different, you know. Food habit, be it the food habits, be it the economic sense, be it the lifestyle. And I think, you know, the very interesting story of diversity in India. For us, I think it is opens up a huge opportunity. You know, we want to be an extremely customer-focused company. I think, as many of the other panelists said, we want to be an extremely customer-focused company in delivering their needs and also solving some of their problems. So, one, yes, it's a kind of a Me Too approach. You have a kind of a one basic product and take it to everyone, or you can have a product and have multiple variants to suit the needs of the diverse country. Probably that is what we are doing, you know. Let me tell you a very nice example which we discovered, you know. I've been working on a project on smart homes for the last 3 years, and there have been a plenty of trends in India, but smart home as a trend never took off. Okay, and we were very curious, and Schneider Electric, we were very focused in terms of making our penetration into homes. And we felt that we being a technology player, smart is a very interesting topic for us. And when I went down in multiple geographies, multiple people, and asking them, what does smart home means to you? I think I got about multiple answers from different places. For somebody, it was home security. For somebody, it was kind of smart lighting. For someone else, it was kind of a smart appliances. Someone else, it was kind of energy efficiency. So when I saw in different places, the needs were completely different of a smart home. And one of the reasons we could zero down on about 4 or 5 points why smart home as a story we did not take off was including the existing brands or Schneider Electric. Most of the brands were offering a kind of a standard template product, you know, without meeting the needs of the regional or local needs. You know. So, give you an example. Another very typical difference is some parts of India is vertical. When I say vertical, it's a lot of large sky-rise apartments. And if you go to the larger India, it is horizontal. You have individual villas and different things. So needs are completely different there. So people who have built already taken up apartment, they felt that I can't do it because my builder is not incorporated all those things. So I have no opportunity to make my home smart because I am just getting into already a built up place. Okay. While when I went to people who are building homes, individual homes, he said, yeah, it is good, but I live in a very joint family. I have grandparents. I am busy all the time traveling with my wife for work, and then my kids. So all of our tastes are different, needs are different. So it could create complexity for my old parents at home to use this. So third, some people said it is very complex to install. It's a long process. You need to kind of really have specialized skilled people. A normal electrician will not be able to come and fit it. Some people said this is innovation which is meant for a very niche. I can't afford it. Everyone can't afford it. So we had a very diverse things which came from, and it took us some time to really solve these problems. And we're very happy to say that here that we developed a product which is called Wiser, which can meet the needs of very, very diverse people. Firstly, it's solved is this is the first product in India. It is for not only just for new homes, it is also for the existing homes. Any home, you can make it as smart in flat 4 hours. Second, it was for everyone. Normally you operate any of the homes through switches. So we said the people who are not comfortable with gadgets, they can continue to operate on switches. We will have a product which will sit over and above this, which is kind of an IoT based technology. You can play it on your smartphone and you can use it on Alexa. And people who don't like this, they can continue to work on switches. So the third, I think, was making it simple. We said without any wall damages, without any changes to your decor, we can just come and fix it in 4 hours. We can make your home smart. So ease of doing things was another thing, and which we brought in the flavor. And lastly, so this is the kind of things which we brought in, and typically we could kind of, one is this, not only just the product, what you need to design to the local needs, it is also to the communication. I think communication has a different flavor in different regions. Brand communication needs to be extremely focused around the local market rather than having a one pitch across the country or a different. And not only just region, the millennials, the Gen Z, Gen Y, everyone needs a different touch.
Yeah,
so,
very right, very true, Srinivas. Whatever you shared, you cannot have a cookie cutter approach for the, not just from a product standpoint, even communication you have to tweak accordingly. See, right? But I sit here in Chennai, but I still see a lot of brands communicating in Hindi in Chennai. So okay, so now the next question. Hope you have completed your answers. I believe I've taken a lot of insights from you. So I have few interesting questions for another round. So that is why I've interrupted you.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Alok, sorry, Atul, my next question to you is one simple question. What do you see as a threat for your industry? It could be a technology shift in technology, or it could be a change in behavior. Can you just answer it quickly so that we can move ahead with other participants? What do you consider as a threat for your product category or industry?
A technology and a way of using the product.
Okay, technology and the way people use the product. Great, thanks, Atul. Alok, can you just specifically tell what kind of technology is trying to disrupt your industry, or what you're keenly watching out on, which technology or which behavior it is?
Tiles have existed for 30, 40 years, and they have kept on changing in shape, size, color. So that's all par for the course. What needs to change and is the way we are buying and selling tiles. And that's what we are trying to disrupt. So we are trying to make it easy for an architect sitting in a Bombay office to choose tiles for a Guwahati, Kerala, or a Haryana project. So he knows what are the tiles that are popular there. He can select the tiles. He can get the high-res images. So there's a lot more self-service. We can help him with creating designs. So lots of services. So we're using technology to enable a lot of self-service as well as make the whole buying process as easy as all of us experience on Amazon. Today we sell tiles online. And the typical model in the building and construction industry has been go to 2-3 dealers and buy. We are saying visit our website and you will find it easy to select tiles. And today you can choose on fashion on Myntra, so you can pretty much choose tiles as well online.
Great. Okay. So the next question is to Bharat, based on what Atul and Alok have shared. If you notice tiles as a product, it's there. Its life cycle. I mean, the entire product's life cycle is huge, right? No new technology, I believe, cannot interrupt a tile. Maybe you can slightly do some sustained innovation in the product. Similar to that, if you notice, a lot of other things related to building and construction, even cements, paints, all these things were there for quite some time. So do you really see any disruptive new technology comes and changes the whole industry? Because what happens is the one critical question which I always ask entrepreneurs and top people is, we are so engrossed in whatever we do, and a new startup or company comes and disrupts the whole thing which we do. It happened to car industry. No one inside the car industry even thought of building a platform like Ola. Nobody inside the car industry. Nobody inside the hotel industry thought of building something like Airbnb, because we were so ingrained. There are a lot of sunken costs involved. We have invested in a lot of manufacturing, all those things. So if I ask you to bring an outsider perspective, not just from your industry, do you foresee any startup which could disrupt your entire industry? Or if I ask you to build a new startup on your own, what type of startup would you build to disrupt your own industry?
So that's a wonderful question, because the answer is actually yes, because we are living in a VUCA world, as you rightly mentioned. Everything is uncertain. It can keep changing it in a split second. So the threats that I see could be anything from, if I say facades, or even it's the material itself. There are, since I keep reading a lot, I see a lot of materials which actually generate power, which are on the facade. They're generating power for the building. It makes the building greener, and the customer is very, very conscious nowadays. That's why you see all of this changing. You must have seen the disruption that electric cars have brought in to the mindset of people. The only one that was there previously was a Toyota Prius, and people just sidelined it because there was a lot of issues with it. But once Tesla came in and the other players jumped in, Tesla has changed the way people drive, because they are making cars which consumers want and not the other way around. It's not pushing their product. So newer technologies will come. The biggest threat that I see is a single material that can be applied everywhere and is also sustainable, and also it's not an impact on the environment, but it is environment friendly. I am foreseeing that coming in the next 15 to 20 years, maybe some sort of glass or some sort of special material that is created, which is very, very, very technologically ahead with the use of nanotechnology, and maybe it generates its own power, maybe it absorbs impurities from air. It could be anything, and I'm telling you, the research is going in that direction. So yes, the best thing that any company can do is not put all their eggs in one basket. Like the Kodak example that you were giving, they need to diversify, they need to innovate and constantly be in the know-how, how they can improve on their existing product. The second big issue is personalization, because if I'm not able to make, tomorrow somebody might want their face on their tile or their facade, that is the kind of design and that is the kind of niche they want to get into, because credit cards have gone there where you can put your own photo on your credit cards. It's going to come there because people want their spaces to reflect themselves. It's not like this is the rack and I want to pick out of this. It's like I want to create my own rack because it's my house. And as you rightly said at the beginning, it's a lifetime, once in a lifetime investment. So why should I make it as per what is available in the market and not as per what I want it to be? Another point that you had raised about the religious sentiments that people had, that's all fading away. It's all blurring because previously as Indians, we were so skeptical of applying the color black inside our house. Nowadays, the largest selling color is it has moved towards the darker shades and all of that. So people are really experimenting, and all of these ground rules and all the different things that they used to hold as benchmarks, they're all fading away because people really want to try new things because they've realized this. It's one life. Why should I be stuck on a particular thing because somebody else says that's right for me? I want things my way. And that is how the shift in adoption of different technology, adoption of different materials is moving towards. And we need to be prepared for that. And I believe that is the only way to sustain going forward.
Thanks, Bharat. Thanks for those insightful answers. Mario, what I would like to understand from you is, see, generally we say brand building takes time. That's a conventional wisdom, right? So, but today, if you notice, startups come up with the whole new value proposition, disrupt conventional business models, and achieve non-linear growth. What conventional businesses achieve in 40, 50 years, 60 years, or even 100 years, all these new age tech brands achieve it in a shorter span of time. But again, another question arises, how long they are relevant. Okay, so now my question to you is, what established businesses need to do to bring a culture of innovation, fast experimentation, and learning in order to stay relevant?
Thank you again for asking this question, exactly me, because within my organization, I am always the unrested person. I always look for new things, and I have a basket full of 1,000 new products where I just wait for it to throw it in the market. My team is always going crazy because I'm pushing them, because when the process is in and it becomes in line, it becomes boring. It bores me. I'm looking for something else, but again, it doesn't bore only me, it bores the customer. And lots of products which we have launched a few years ago, I forecasted it even before that because I was aware the time will change. This product is going to come. My experience or my advantage is that I'll see how Europe is moving, because being the director of my German company as well, I see there the latest technology. Now then only the price barriers there. I have to see when India is actually really ready. 10, 15 years ago, no one could even think of selling an high-end aluminium window. It was just simply not possible because aluminium was the real low-end things. And there we have really seen once the change came, so that we was already ready, jumping in and being already prepared. This could have been a big disruption for me if I would have gone only on my traditional vertical of UPVC windows. And therefore, again, disruption don't be only in a particular area. India is so big. People are asking me, oh, in Asia, why you're only in India? Because India is so big. So when an area is shifting, in some areas UPVC runs, in other areas still wood runs, other areas aluminium runs, you have to be really on the spot with the product which the market actually has. And talking about the tech giants, I would say luckily in India we are somehow protected. So because we know most of them is just gambling, where most of the money is coming in. So when you have thousands of crores with you, then you will put it in your marketing, and then overnight your brand will be somewhere, people will start following you. I think the way of doing it in certain elements stable here in the country is protecting for all this rise and fall, and also the investors' money, which is also always at stake when they may come, that certain thing, as you rightly said, disrupts in itself because it was just a bubble. So what they are saying in the US, which is wrong, fake it until you make it. Also, listen, fake it until you make it, and this is completely wrong. You come really only with a product in when you have the confidence, because again, for a 60 years old brand, and many of your brands are much older than our brand, it took you really 60 years. And then with gambling, you can destroy everything. Also therefore, be really reasonable but be open that no one destroys you. This is right.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mario. This last question is to Srinivas. Now, if you notice, Apple made a recent change in their app policy. They made app tracking transparency with iOS 14.5, their version. This was aimed to stop application makers like Facebook, Instagram, and other application developers from tracking what users do and selling that information to advertisers. And we all know this made a huge dent in Facebook's advertising revenue, and there was a huge dip in the overall stock price, historical drop. Another thing, if you notice, there was a recent ban of Google Analytics in the entire European Union because of data violation, as they say, GDPR violation. So if we notice, all these happenings indicate a threat for online marketing, which is heavily dependent on data. Today, we are all concerned about privacy issues, right? But conventionally, all these social media platforms used our data and used to give that data to advertisers like us so that we can do targeted advertising. So now this is a big threat, right? So how do you see this situation? From a marketing standpoint, what kind of shift is required in the media strategy? Because advertising online is slowly becoming irrelevant, right? We even see a lot of skip ads on YouTube, and we ourselves are not interested when people show ads when we consume content in online, right, as consumers. So can you just share your views on this, Srinivas?
Hey Rajesh, I think it's a very relevant question. I think I don't want to. I want to refrain from commenting about Google and Apple, but I think GDPR guidelines are becoming very stringent these days. India is yet to come up with our own data privacy law. I think this is something which is a very, very sensitive thing, and brand owners, manufacturers, everyone has to be very, very sensitive about, I think, making things, getting into the private space of consumers. We got to really respect their privacy of data, privacy of their space, everything. There are a lot of unforeseen things which have been happening in the recent times. I think brand communicators has to be very sensitive. They should be really own the data, and the data has to be respected very well. And we at Schneider Electric are very, very focused on this, be it anything on not only just data, on cyber security. These days, we have a lot of gadgets and everything getting connected everywhere. So the cyber security is becoming a big threat everywhere. So cyber security will become a big subject in terms of data privacy, as well as protecting your own interest everywhere. So marketers are becoming putting up a broader framework for this, and companies have started respecting it, and to maintain the privacy of consumers. But for consumers also, I would recommend another way. I think, yeah, consumers are by natural being more on social these days, spending more and more time on the social platforms and other places. But consumers should also think twice before giving access to their location, access to their data. Many a times it is just a tick mark. In the whole thing, people don't realize what they are allowing the other person or a property or a platform to access. So you are just ticking it, you are ignoring what exactly it is. It is important for you to understand when you are giving access to all these things, you are legitimizing all the access what you are given. Okay, so it is important on both the sides to respect data privacy. Consumers has to be more aware what they are giving access to rest of the people, while brands has to be more conscious in terms of putting up a boundary to the privacy. So this is very, very important, and I see these days now. Let's give a simple example. I get at least 10 calls every day from different marketing companies, and I want to give you this, I want to have this. Probably the banks. Banks are the ones who has got all the access to your numbers, everything, and these numbers are available. I don't know. I'm not surprised if Ambani's or even the CXOs gets calls because their numbers are available everywhere. You can just pick up and do things. So you've got to respect those boundary lines and respect those things what you want to do. And I think this will evolve a couple of years. It will mature on both the sides.
Thanks. Thank you so much. So now, thank you so much, all of you, all the speakers, for sharing your viewpoints on this interesting aspect of product marketing. So what we eventually and what I eventually understood from all your conversation is consumer enthusiasm is important, even in a construction industry. Even though it may sound boring, but you're taking efforts to bring that enthusiasm, because not just enthusiasm, since it is a high involvement ticket size, customers are naturally inclined towards the product category. That is number one. Number two, if we need to address architects, builders, and other B2B segment, a different type of communication is needed because their purchase criteria is entirely different. And we have also learned that we need to get out of the building, learn something, learn from the market, so that we are aware of the changes which is happening in the environment. And fourth one is not just brand awareness. It's not just about spreading the word, do some push advertising. It's about building engagement with the consumers, building that brand loyalty. These things are also critical. So the fifth point is we should be aware of the external situations, the culture which is evolving, the technological shifts, all these things which affects the consumer behavior. We need to be aware, highly aware of this, because these things both present an opportunity and threat to the building and construction industry. So last thing which we discussed is we need to also keep in mind the user and users' data privacy, and ensure that we maintain some kind of sanctity when we approach the customers in social media. So thank you so much, all of you. I personally enjoyed discussing with you on product marketing, particularly in the building and construction industry. So excited. I thank Bharat, Mario, Atul, Alok, and I think Sanjay, right? Yeah, Srinivas. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you so much, all of you. Over to Sapna.
That was, yes, very interesting conversation about how things are happening and how probably the changes we might see. Mr. Srinivasan, just to wrap up this entire conversation, what learnings, maybe just quickly, if you can, in 2 sentences or 1 sentence, what learnings can building construction industry take from other segments in terms of marketing?
I see a huge technology shift everywhere. And people are quickly, as Bharat pointed out, people are seeking something new in everything they do. This culture of showing everything in Instagram, the culture of activism. If you notice, we see consumer activism everywhere in social media. People today act like reporters like you. Normal human beings, people who use social media, they think and behave like media reporters. They shoot videos and they share things. they don't hesitate to share their lifestyle. If a brand goes up, they don't hesitate to post it on social media. Yes, there is some kind of negativity building around because of this, but these affects brands like us, particularly building and construction industry. If we notice, the industry is quite matured, but there are all these new things also presents an opportunity to come back to the product life cycle, do some innovations, and to stay like the example which I have given, Lata Mangeshkar. It may be irrelevant to the directly to the category, but some kind of reinvention, some kind of finding product variations. In innovation, there are two types of innovation. One is a breakthrough innovation. You do something totally new. Number two, we call it a sustained innovation. You do something, you consistently keep a moving target for your competition, consistently provide something different to the customers. I think that is only possible if we have our eyes and ears to the market. What changes are happening? Everything is an opportunity. That is what I believe, Sapna.
That's right. And we have seen it, the opportunity in crisis also during the pandemic, how a lot of looking at the needs, a lot of businesses came up, how businesses sustained themselves, innovated themselves to, sync themselves with the changing customer needs. So thank you so much for this wonderful panel and set of speakers that we had today with us talking about marketing and how marketeers are looking at, as Mr. Srinivasan rightly said, it's more like a community stakeholder marketing, more like, flexibility, which the products, innovation, constant innovation is something that we are going to see now happening. And, because times are completely, unpredictable. So thank you so much, everyone. Mr. Rajesh Srinivasan for that wonderful moderation of the panel. Bharat for joining here with us and sharing your views. Dr. Mario for being here with us. We will be seeing you again in the next panel, but thank you for joining this panel and sharing your views here. Mr. Atul Desai, as always, it's wonderful to have you and listen to what you have to, your opinions and share your views. Mr. Alok Agarwal, again, a very, a pleasure to have you here with us. And Mr. Srinivas Shanbogue, thank you for joining us. I know you had a bad throat, and despite that, you have joined here and you shared your views and opinions with us. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and being on this panel.
Thanks, Sapna. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.